Hey guys, this is Tauna, and today we have your instant speed news. We're going to be talking about Aetherdrift Reveal stream, everything that was shown today. There's only two new mechanics, which is nice, and we've seen the phase commanders. We've got some very awesome new cards, all shown. Releases 14th of February. There's a lot to cover, so I'm going to be talking very quickly. So apologies if you are, finding it hard to understand my accent. Before we get into it though, make sure you guys subscribe. This came out 3 hours ago. We're already doing a big reveal stream and, summary for you guys to kind of see and be able to quickly learn everything about the new set. So the new mechanics, first up, we've got start your engines. So to me, this is kind of similar to the Ring Tempts You. When you play a card that has start your engines on it, you're going to get a tracker, which is this little dude over here, and you're going to track it as you gain speed. It doesn't have counters. It doesn't have anything like that. It's just a tracker that you kind of go through. You gain 1 speed if an opponent lost speed on you. Lost life on your turn, and the maximum speed is 4. So, gain it 3 times. And there's a lot of cards here that are like, when you get maximum speed, it does XYZ extra, essentially. We've also got Exhaust. So these are activated abilities that can only be activated once each game. That's not each turn or anything. It's just each game you can only activate them 1 time. So this is very interesting. It gives them a lot of design space to have more powerful activated abilities because of the fact that, you can't untap and then use it, which is not as great for Commander, obviously, because in Commander we really want to be able to untap and do those kind of big combos and stuff. But there's still going to be some that are useful, especially if you've got ways to be able to kind of flicker them back in or something like that. Potentially you'd be able to use it again. I assume you'd be able to use it again, and there is some cards in the set that specifically allow you to be able to activate them again as well. So getting into the fancy stuff, like the fancy versions of cards. First up, we've got the revved up cards. So these are borderless, and they are going to be essentially like graffiti style, which is really cool. We've also got these, which are the first place foiling. So there's revved up versions of these, and there's a whole bunch of different versions of the normal cards that are these first place foiling. They look really bad in these pictures that they've given us, in my opinion. They look like pea yellow, but they are really beautiful in real life. They showed them. They're really nice kind of foiling. I really like them. I think they're really cool. And they've got a bunch of different versions of all the different cards kind of with them. We've also got these graffiti giant cards, which are for the Gear Hulks. And you can see here, this is the first place foiling for the normal version of it, first place foil for the graffiti giant version of it there. And then there's also these Rude Rider ones. Yeah, what does this remind me of? There's in Australia there was a book series. I can't remember it off the top of my head now. I don't know if you guys had it as well, but it had very similar kind of art style to this. It's something to do with actually Rude, I think. Yeah, these are basically this kind of art style and a whole bunch of things. They look kind of like Secret Lairish, and they've got a different font up the top here as well. And yeah, it's just across vehicles. There's some creatures and stuff with it as well. Although I guess this is a creature, so because the mount. We've also got the full art driver's seat basic lands. These are really cool because they're from the perspective of the from a vehicle. So you've got an insect one, a keel hauler. You've got Cloudspire, I think that one is, an end rider, and then what's that? Actually, I don't know which one vehicle that is. Oh, it's one of the goblins. That's right. And then you've got a first place foil version of that as well. So into the new cards here. So we've got Night Market. So this one here is when it enters, choose a color and you can tap it for any for that chosen color. And also it can cycle for 3. So just really nice kind of basic land that helps fix your mana. And also has that cycling if you have it later in the game and you don't want to use it. We've got the Raceway, so there's 3 different ones of this, the Avishkar, the Amonkhet, and then the Muruganda one. Each of them has start your engines on them, so as I said, when it comes out, you start at 1 speed, and then it increases for each of your turns when an opponent lost life, up to a maximum of 4. So you can see here how this works. It taps for colors, and then it also, when you've got max speed, you can tap it for something else. So this one here lets you discard a card and then draw a card. This one here lets you gain haste on a creature. And then the Muruganda one is just add 2 colorless. So you can see that it's kind of you've got the immediate thing that you can do, and then later, as you know, you build up your speed, then you're able to do something better. I don't think they're going to be great for Commander. Like, they're just a little bit slow, especially in a Commander game. You don't want to have to wait, like, you know, 3 turns. I guess you could make it gain on your first turn, so yeah, it's going to be a little bit for you to be able to use them. I don't think that they're going to be very efficient, but you know, they're going to be good for standard and stuff, I think. We've got the Aetherspark. So this is a legendary artifact planeswalker equipment. So as long as it's attached to a creature, it can't be attacked, and has, whenever the equipped creature deals combat damage during your turn, put that many loyalty counters onto the Aetherspark. So you can pay, you can plus it up 1 to attach the Aetherspark to up to 1 creature you control, and then put a +1 on that creature. And then you can -5 to draw 2 cards, or -10 to add 10 mana of any color. So this is a really nice equipment, I think, to be able to, like, if you got a combat damage based strategy, or going to be, you know, dealing damage directly to someone, because you could build this up really easily in a whole bunch of different decks. Like if you've got a Captain America deck, for example, and you're going to swing in, deal combat damage, you can also +1 up to be able to equip it to him easily, and then also put the +1 counter onto him. And then you've got like that ability to be able to minus it down. And as long as it's attached to to like a creature, it can't be attacked. So it's not going to be destroyed or anything, which is kind of a big drawback for equipments. For planeswalkers, is that them just getting destroyed. So this is just a really, really fancy equipment. It didn't necessarily need to be a planeswalker, but the fact that it is really cool. It means that you can kind of plus it up. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I think it's really cool. We've got a vehicle token here that's used for the Chandra Planeswalker, which we'll show later on. We've got Venix, verbose host. So start your engines, you know, and then the max speed here. This one here isn't like a extra tap or anything. This is just, if you draw a card, draw 2 cards instead. So many card draw decks are going to be wanting this. It's just really, really great. As long as you can kind of get the speed up, as I said. Like maybe there's some cards in here that increase your speed or something that they haven't shown yet. Who knows? So getting into the 2-color combos, we've got the Guide Light Voyages first up. So we've got their Mendicat core. Its power is equal to the amount of artifacts you control. It's got start your engines, and then the max speed is whenever you cast an artifact, pay 1. If you do, copy it. That is really, really great. We've got the Guidelight Pathmaker here. Vigilance, and then when the vehicle enters, search your library for an artifact and reveal it. Put it onto the battlefield as mana value 2 or less. Otherwise, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Really cool, like artifact tutor there that you could potentially use. Like, because it's just kind of stapled onto a vehicle as well, which is nice. Like, you get the vehicle out, but then you also get to tutor something up, potentially onto the battlefield, otherwise into your hand. Like, that could find your Soul Ring. Right, like later in the game, that could find your Soul Ring. That's really nice. And then they've got the revved up versions of those. We've got the Speed Demons. So they only showed Winter from this and one other vehicle. So Winter, Cursed Rider. He's got Ward, pay 2 life. Artifacts you control have Ward, pay 2 life. And then he's got that Exhaust, exile X cards from your graveyard. Each other non-artifact creature gets -X until end of turn. So he's going to wipe out all your artifact, your non-artifact creatures, and anyone else's, I guess. So a big kind of, you know, finisher from that includes that kind of collect evidence style mechanic. Oh, no, not collect evidence, because collect evidence was based off of CMC. That's just exile cards. And they specifically have to be artifact cards too. I don't know. I don't think that is great. Anyway, we've got the revved up version of Winter there. And then we've got the Last Ride here, which is a big, big boy vehicle. But it's only not too bad once your life is really, really low. Not really going to find use in Commander, I don't think. Because, you know, very likely this thing just dies when it comes out. You've got to be, below 13 life at least. So if you're at 12 life, it's a 1/1. Yeah. We've got Loot the Pathfinder. So he's got Double Strike, Vigilance, Haste, and then he's got 3 different exhaust abilities. This is a really interesting use for the exhaust mechanic, because you can activate each of these once. So you can activate all of them, you know, separate times. But it's like, you know, you've got multiple different versions of it, like multiple different exhaust abilities here. We've got Far Fortune End Boss. So she is the leader of the Mad Max style cards, Mad Max style faction. She's got Start Your Engines, and then whenever you attack, she deals 1 damage to each opponent. And then she has, if a source you control would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals that much damage +1. So that kind of nice additional ping damage there. And then from there, we've got her revved up version as well. And then we've got the Apocalypse Rider, which is tap it, target creature you control with power 2 or less gains lifelink and can't be blocked. And it's also got Crew 3. And I love that version of it. I love the revved up versions of it. I think they're just really cool. We've got the Goblin Rocketeers here. So they're related by Redshift, Rocketeer Chief. They have Vigilance, and then tap. Add X mana of any color, where X is Redshift's power. Spend this mana only to activate abilities. And then you've also got this huge ability here. 10, a red and a green. Put any number of permanent cards from your hand onto the battlefield. You can also see the awesome, like, you know, borderless version of Redshift, which is just really, really cool. We've got the Rocketeer Boost Buggy, which is whenever it attacks, create a treasure. And then it's also got Exhaust 3. This vehicle becomes an artifact creature. Put a +1 on it. So it looks like the green is just going to be +1s as per usual. Boom Mobile, whenever this enters, add 4 mana of 1 color. Spend it only to activate abilities. There's a lot of exhaust. So I think, like, the Gruul kind of thing is going to be around exhaust abilities. This one's got, it deals X damage to any target, put +1 counter on this vehicle. The good thing about this is also you can activate the ability, like the turn it comes out. So technically you could make it ping 1 at least, like straight away. We've got the Draconautics Engineer here, that has 2 different exhaust abilities. One that gives everything haste, or everything of yours haste. And then also you can create a red dragon dinosaur token as well, which is pretty good. Onto Yulakri and Quickbeasts. So we've got Caradora, the leader here. Whenever she enters, you may search your library for a mount or vehicle, reveal it, put into your hand, then shuffle. If 1 or more +1s will be put on a creature or vehicle you control, put that many +1 onto it. And then we've got, you know, her borderless version, and then Lagorin, which is her mount. So it has flying. Whenever it attacks while saddled, put a +1 onto each of up to 2 target mounts or vehicles. And then also it has saddle 1. So, you know, you can saddle it with Caradora straight away. Well, realistically, you could saddle it with anything straight away. Yeah. I'm actually surprised Caradora doesn't do something more when she is, like, saddling something or something. That would have been really cool. We've got the Bulwark Ox here, which is whenever it attacks while saddled, put a +1 onto target creature. And then you can sack it to give creatures you control with counters on them hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. The champions of Amonkhet have a lot of stuff to do with, like, cycling and creating zombies and stuff, which is pretty cool. Like, you know, call back to their actual Amonkhet and stuff. So we've got Zahur, Glory's Pass, so it has Start Your Engines, and then you can sacrifice something to surveil 1. You can only activate that once per turn, though. And then it has, whenever a non-token creature you control dies, create a tapped 2/2 black zombie creature token. Different versions of Zahur. Obviously, you know, cats, and we've got a little bit of cat stuff here as well with, like, Basri too, making it so that whenever you cycle him, you have creatures, cats you control gain hexproof and indestructible, kind of calling back to that foundation stuff where they added a whole bunch of cats then. And, you know, this is obviously going to tie into those cats too, which is cool. We've got Cryptcaller Chariot as well, which is whenever you discard 1 or more cards, create that many tapped black zombie creature tokens. So there's also a few cards in here that have, like, cycling and stuff that kind of ties into that discard. Discard seems to be a thing, at least, you know, within the, like, black and white, but I think that even blue had some stuff with it too, with actually no, nearly everything has some kind of discard synergy. No, it's mostly just black. I think black has the discarding and then has payoffs in both Is It and within Orzhov. So I've got the Speedbrood, which is Achik Emerald Radiant. Whenever Achik enters, create a 1/1 green insect creature token for each artifact or creature card in your graveyard. And then it has, whenever another insect you control dies, put a +1 onto it, and each opponent loses 1 life. And we've got the Thunderous Velocipede to go with that. Trample, each other vehicle and creature you control enters with an additional +1 onto it if its mana value is 4 or less. Otherwise, it enters with 3 additional +1/+1 counters on it. We've got the Aether Rangers in Simic here. So Sita is the leader here, Sita Varma. She has X, green, green, blue. Put X +1 counters onto Sita, and then you may have the base power and toughness of each other creature you control become equal to her power. That is a very cool ability. That's a huge kind of potential finisher there. We've got the Rangers Aether Hive to go alongside it. Whenever you activate an exhaust, create a 1/1 colorless Thopter. And then the Hulldrifter to kind of call back to that, that kind of, wow, I am blanking on it. The other Drifter card. Oh man, someone tell me what it is. When it enters, draw 2 cards. I know which one I'm thinking of. The one that when it enters, draw 2 cards. It's got Encore. Yeah, someone tell me what it's called. We've got Captain Howler Sea Scourge here for for the Keel Haulers. A Shark Pirate Ward 2, pay 2 life, and then whenever you discard 1 or more. Oh no, this isn't black. No, this is, yeah, that's interesting. There's actually some discard stuff in Izzet as well. Whenever you discard 1 or more cards, target creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. I think that Orzhov is cycling, and then Izzet is like discard, like a looting kind of thing, which makes sense. We've also got here boosted slop. Whenever you attack, draw a card, then discard a card. Boosted sloop, not slop. We've got the Cloudspire racing team in Boros here, with Chandra obviously being the leader out of it. At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose up to 1 vehicle you control. It becomes an artifact creature, gains until end of turn. It becomes an artifact creature and gains haste. So you just boom, activate that vehicle. Really cool. Pay 2. +2 is you may sacrifice an artifact or discard a card. If you do, draw a card. You've got 0, create a 3/2 colorless vehicle token with crew 1. And then -7 is you get an emblem with whenever an artifact you control enters, it deals 3 damage to any target. We've also got Colladin as the secondary commander, but secondary leader of the Cloudspire team. Mounts and vehicles you control have haste. Whenever a mount enters, it becomes saddled until end of turn. When a vehicle enters, it becomes an artifact creature until end of turn, which is really cool. So just like get that initial burst of my vehicle's out, boom, now I get to attack with it. We've got the Cloudspire Sky Cycle here. Flying, whenever this enters, distribute 2 +1s among 1 or 2 other target vehicles or creatures you control. And then we've got Valor's Flagship here. This is another one that's kind of calling back to another card. So this one here calls back to the other cycling card that creates 1/1s that I can't think of the name of at the moment. Well, my brain's fried. I have not had my medication this morning yet. This is a really cool one. Mythic cycle of vehicles, it looks like, too. So it's got Flying, Lifelink, and First Strike. And they also said about how they specifically gave a whole bunch of vehicles cycling, because you know, if you draw them at certain stages, then vehicles are not going to be useful if you don't have the creatures for them and stuff. So giving them cycling gives them an alternate use kind of thing. We've got Sabsanoon Luxa Embodied. So this is one of the new gods from Amonkhet. She has, whenever she can't attack or block unless she has an even number of counters on her. And then at the beginning of your first main phase, you put a +1 onto her. And then if you have an odd number of counters on it, draw 2 cards. Also, since when do frogs have boobs? Yeah, anyway. We've got Hazaret Godseeker, Indestructible Haste, start your engines, and then pay 1, tap, target creature with power 2 or less can't be blocked. And it also has whenever it can't attack or block unless you have max speed. So, you know, more kind of speed-based stuff there. I got the Oil Deep Gearhulk. So there's a Gearhulk for each 2-color combo. So this is the Dimir one, obviously, Lifelink and Ward 1. So they each have 2 keywords and then an ability. Whenever it enters, look at target player's hand. You may choose a card from there. If you do, that player discards that card, then draws a card. Got the Air Response unit here as well. Flying, Vigilance, Crew 1. 2, like, it's a pretty basic vehicle, but still going to be useful, I think, especially within draft and stuff. We've got the starting column, start your engines, it's got tap, it's just a mana, like a mana rock, that also has, you know, when you've got max speed, you can stack it to draw 2 cards and discard a card. Elvish Refueler, what I said about the exhaust abilities, this is one that lets you activate an exhaust ability again. As long as you haven't activated an exhaust ability this turn, you may activate exhaust abilities as though they haven't been activated. So, you know, the first one of your turn, you can activate it even though you may have activated it previously, which is pretty cool. We've got the repurposing bay here. Pay to, sack another artifact, search your library. So just a birthing pod for artifacts, like but like, you know, tied to an artifact rather than like Iron Man that just does it naturally whenever you attack. Bloodghast getting a reprint with new versions of it. It's a nice card to kind of fuel like your vehicles and stuff. Yeah, like early on, fuel your vehicles. Later on, go in for the swing. We've got Quagfest. Did I pronounce that right? I don't know. Quagfest. Choose target artifact, creature, or vehicle. Mill 2, then destroy the chosen permanent if its value is less than or equal to the number of cards in your graveyard. So a nice removal there. Agnosaur Rex. Trample, cycling 2, and green. Whenever you cycle it, put 2 1/1 counters on up to one target creature or vehicle. It gains indestructible and trample until end of turn. So another one with cycling there too. We've got the Pyrewood Gear Hulk. So call back to Ren and 7. I can't remember if Ren and 6 or Ren and 7. There with Vigilance, Menace. When it enters, other creatures you control get +2/+2, Vigilance and Menace until end of turn, and damage can't be prevented this turn. Like, you know, this is obviously calling back to that, which is really cool and really nice because, you know, they kind of sacrifice themselves with the Phyrexian invasion. We've got the enemy Verges here, which is cool. So the Verge is getting reprinted, which is really, really nice. Amazing land cycle there. We've got this new land cycle here, which is uncommon around, you know, mounts and vehicles. It's got all of them have tap, add whatever color, and then pay 1 that color, sack it to create a pilot that saddles things with saddles or crews with power 2 or greater. As if it were power 2 or greater. We've got the life gain lands getting reprinted here too. We saw the art for the Swift Water Cliffs one later on, but all of them got reprinted as well. So special guest, they showed off Lord of the Undead, and then we've got Chrome Mox getting reprinted. Nice. Yeah, everyone's going to be after the Chrome Mox, to be honest. The commander decks, they said that there's, you know, specifically around one around Amonkhet and one around Avishkar, and then they've got re-flavored art in them too. So, you know, Path of Ancestry here, obviously Amonkhet. We've got a command tower from Avishkar. We've got Temet Naktum's Will here, being the commander for the Eternal Might one. Vigilance, Menace. Whenever you attack, draw a card, then discard a card. Whenever you draw a card, zombies you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. And then we've got Hashaton as the secondary commander here. Whenever you discard a creature card, you may pay 2 and blue. If you do, create a tapped token copy of it, except it's a 4/4 black zombie. We've got Saheeli, Radiant Creator. Whenever you cast an Artificer or Artifact spell, you get energy, and then at the beginning of combat you can pay 3 energy. When you do, create a token copy of a permanent you control, except it's a 5/5 artifact creature in addition to its other types and has haste, and then sack it at the beginning of your next end step. So kind of like what's his face, I can't remember his name, the commander from the Modern Horizons 3. No, it actually more reminds me of Mishra. Reminds me of Mishra, actually. Yeah. Except you pay this to be able to create it as a 5/5 instead of a 4/4. The Mishra from the commander deck. And then we've got Pia Nalar as the secondary commander here. Whenever artifact creatures you control deal combat damage, gain energy. And then at the beginning of your beginning of your end step, you can pay 1 or more energy, and if you do, get to create a artifact token based off of how much energy you've spent. And then we've got some art. So we've got the Racious Scoreboard, Roverblades. So these are ones that they showed the art for, but didn't actually show the card for, except for this one, which is Swiftwater Cliffs, which I forgot to delete out of here. We've got Gilded Goda, a freaking hilarious horse. We've got Kickoff Celebrations, Bright Field Glider. We've got Skybox Fairy, Monument to Endurance, Prowcatcher Specialist, Gontai Night Minister, so Gontai getting a new version, which is really cool. Spot Cycle Scouter. We've got Point the Way with loot there, and Count on Your Luck with loot as well. We've got Glory Heath Lynx, which is really cool. We've got Slick Imitator, so assumedly like a changeling there. We've got Spot Cycle Scouter, a different art for that one as well. And we've got Draco Saw Auxiliary. And that's it for today. Let me know what you guys think. Have a great day. Goodbye.